This will be a video for 7th grade, page 79. In this one, we're going to be doing subtraction with rational numbers. So we'll have whole numbers, integers, fractions, and decimals in this. And we'll be doing subtraction. It's very similar to what we just did in 3.1, except the only thing that's different here is we might have to change these two minuses in a row into a big plus. If you remember back in I think it was 2.3, where we took these, or no, it was 1.3, I think. We took two minuses in a row, and we decided this was the opposite of the opposite, and we could take this and turn it into a big plus sign. So this new problem is 5 plus 8, okay? So on any of these questions, if we see two pluses, or two minuses here, two minuses in a row make it a plus, two minuses in a row make it a plus, two minuses, two minuses, two minuses, two minuses, two subtraction signs in a row make pluses. So it looks like we're gonna have to do this 5 times on this page, but I won't do those right now until we get to them. So the first one says 5 plus 8. So using your number line, we'll start at 5. We're going to add 8. That means we're going to the right. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's our final sum here is 13. 5 minus negative 8 is minus the opposite of 8. It's the same thing as 5 plus 8. So that'll be 13. The next one, I see that we have fractions of halves. And I noticed that my number line is also broken in halves. So like here's negative 3. So in between negative 3 and negative 4 is negative 3 and a half, or negative 3.5, same thing. So this will be negative 4 and a half. All right, here's negative 5 and a half, and it's getting bigger, absolute value anyway, as we go to the left because we're in the negatives. So we're starting at negative 3 and a half. So we're going to start right here, and we're going to go subtract 4 and a half. So we're going to go to the left. I'm going to do this in two different parts. I'm going to do the half first. I'm going to subtract a half, which is going to take me to right here. So that was minus 1/2. And then I'm going to take away another 4 wholes. So I want to be careful because this right here would just be a half. So I want to go over 1 whole, 2 wholes, 3 wholes, 4 wholes. Takes me here to negative 8. And that is our final answer there for that one. And then we can look at these numbers. We know that these are both negative. We have negative 3 and negative 4. We have negative 1/2 and negative another 1/2. I know that 3 and 4 makes 7. So that'll be negative 7. And I know that 1/2 and another 1/2 makes 1, but it's negative. So negative 7 and negative 1 does make negative 8. For number 3, we're starting at negative 7, and we are subtracting. So we need to go left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Final difference here is negative 11. For number 4, we're starting at negative 0.5. Now this is the same thing as negative 1/2. 0.5, I like to think of it as 50 cents. Okay, so this is a half. It's half of a dollar. Negative 0.5 would be right here. Okay, negative 0.5, there's negative 1, negative 1.5, negative 2, negative 2.5, negative 3. So let's see, we're starting at negative 0.5. We're going to subtract 3.5. I'm going to do this again in two different parts. I'm going to first do the 0.5. I'm going to the left. To the left by 0.5 takes me to 1. So I did the 0.5. Now I need to go left by 3 wholes. And again, be careful. Don't just go to here. That's only a half. Okay, so from negative 1 to negative 2, that's 1. There's 2. And there's 3. So my final answer is negative 4. And now to do this without the number line, I can see that I have negative and a negative. So I'm going to combine these. I'm going to have a half of a red and 3.5 red if we're counting counters. And I know that if I added 1/2 of a red counter to this pile of 3.5 red counters, well, that puts me at a total of 4 red counters. Okay, look at number 5. Number 5, I have 14 reds, and I have 22 more reds. So that should tell me right now, I know my answer has to be negative. I know it has to be negative. So then I just need to do 14 plus 22 and find out how many reds I have. 4 plus 2 will be 6. 1 plus 2 will be 3. So my answer is negative because they're all red counters. I have 36 of them. Number 6, right off the bat, I'm going to point out this is 2 negatives in a row turns into a plus. Okay, 2 negatives in a row turns into a plus. I have 12 and a half reds, and I have 4 and 8/10, 4.8 yellows. So just seeing that, I know that I'm going to have to subtract because they are different signs. I have reds, and I'm going to take some yellows and make some 0 pairs. So I need to do 12 and a half minus 4.8. And I need to make sure this larger number, the 12 is larger than 4. So if I'm going to subtract, the larger one has to be on the top. I can't do 5 minus 8. I need to make that a 15 by borrowing from this 2. 15 minus 8 is 7. I can't do 1 minus 4, but I can do 11 minus 4, and that'll be 7. Now we need to see, do I have more red counters or more yellow counters? Well, I have 12 reds and 4 yellows. Okay, so I know my answer has to be negative 7.7. Next one, I have 2 minuses in a row. So first thing we've got to do, turn that into a plus. I have 1/3 and 2/3. If I'm going to add or subtract fractions, in this case it's adding, I need a common denominator, but I have that. I have 3 and 3. So now I just know that my denominator is going to be a 3. Now I just add the numerators. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3/3, well, that's 3 1/3. So here's 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. Makes a total of 3/3, which is 1 whole circle. 1 whole. Number 8, I see 2 minuses in a row. Turn it into a plus, and I have 65 plus 14. They are all positive now that I've made my big plus sign. 5 plus 4 is 9. 6 plus 1 is 7. So I have 79. For number 9, I have 2/9. Big plus, 2 minuses in a row, and 3 wholes. These are negative 2/9, and this is 3 wholes. Now, if this was positive 2/9, well, it would just be 3 and 2/9. But I need to take away. This is like, I'm going to use a commutative property. I need to take away 2/9 from 3. So let's figure out how we need to do this. What I would do is I would imagine I have 3 wholes, and then I'd break one of these into a bunch of 9ths, into 9/9, and I'd take 2 of these away. Okay, so I have 3 wholes. If I take 2/9, this wasn't a perfect drawing. Let me do a better drawing with rectangles, because I think I can probably make 9ths out of those. 3 wholes, and I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. So I have 3 wholes, and I need to take away 1 2/9. Okay. So what I have remaining is 2 wholes. And how many 9ths remaining? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 9ths. 2 and 7 9ths remaining. Okay, because this was a hole, this is a hole. I took that 3rd hole, because we started with 3 holes, and I broke it into 9ths and took 2 of them away. So I have 7 9ths remaining. For the next one, big plus sign. I have 2 positives here. So I have 24 and 3/8, and I have 54 and 1/8. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these holes and I'm going to put those together. So 24 plus 54 makes 78. So I have 78, and I'm going to put 3/8 with 1/8. So 3/8 plus 1 more 1/8 makes a total of 4/8, which does reduce. We can divide by 2. We can divide by 2, makes 2/4. We can divide by 2 again, and that makes 1/2. Or if you recognize right here that it is 1/2, you don't have to show me these steps. So that would be 78 and 1/2. Okay, if we have holes, if we have mixed numbers like this, we can do it like this. We don't have to make them improper. We can just add the holes and then add the fractions. Now sometimes there might be a little bit extra what we have to do. We might have to make an extra hole or something, but in this case, that's our final answer there. I'm going to go ahead and open up a new document here for the second half. Here's the second parts, 11 through 15. So number 11, a girl is snorkeling 1 meter below sea level, then dives down another 0.5 a meter, another half of a meter. How far below sea level is this girl? So where does she start? She starts at -1 meter. Then she goes down, so I'm going to subtract 0.5. So -1, so I have -1 counters, and I have -1 or negative a half of a counter. So if I'm going to combine two piles of reds and reds, so I'm going to have -1, make sure I line up that decimal, plus 0.5. I'll get rid of that negative because I know they're red. I'm going to have 1.5. And they are red counters, so she's 1.5 meters below the sea level. Or how far below sea level? So she's 1.5 meters below sea level. Number 12. The first play of a football game resulted in a loss of 12.5 yards. Then a penalty resulted in another loss of 5 yards. What is the total loss or gain? So let's see. I have 12 holes and 5 holes, and it's all red. These are all negatives. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to combine these. 12 and 5 makes -17, and then a half and nothing else. That half doesn't really combine with anything. This is 0 halves. So 1 half and 0 halves is another half. There we go. So this is yards. A climber starts descending. So descending means going down, okay? But they're starting at 533 feet above sea level. So I'm going to start at 533. That's kind of hard to read. I'm going to go with black here. So 533. And they're starting to descend. Okay, so, and keeps going until she reaches 10 feet below sea level. So minus something equals -10 feet. How many feet did she descend? So let's see. We're going to find out what goes here. 533 minus what equals -10. Started at 533, and they go down some amount to reach -10 feet. So let's see. I know that if I do 533 minus 533, that puts me at 0. And I need to go 10 more. So 533 minus 543 should make -10. So how many feet did she descend? This is 543 feet. For number 14, write 2 absolute value expressions for the distance between -7 and 5 on a number line. So from -7 and 5. Then give the distance. So 2 absolute value expressions. So from here, -7 to 0, I can see that that is that's a total of 7, and from here to here is a total of 5. So absolute value expressions. Absolute value is written like this. Absolute value of -7 equals 7. Okay, so if we want to find out the distance from -7 to 5, one thing we could say is -7, the absolute value of -7 plus the absolute value of 5 equals a total of 12. Okay, we could also say the absolute value of 7 plus the absolute value of -5. That also equals 12. So We could also, I mean, there's lots of different things we could do here. We could say the absolute value of -7 minus, nah, I don't know, that probably won't work. But how about these two? Sound good to me. Because the absolute value of 7 and -7 are both 7. The absolute value of 5 and -5 are 5. So total is 12. 15. Mandy is trying to subtract 4 minus 12. And she has asked you for help. How would you explain the process of solving the problem to Mandy using a number line? So I'll have you answer this one by yourself. Tell me where you start, which direction you go. So where do you start? Where does she start? What direction? And how far? So how far does she go in what direction? Okay, so give me like a sentence or two here on number 15, explaining how Mandy can use a number line to subtract 4 minus 12.